Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a seriously ancient yet totally practical manual for mastering something we all struggle with, our modern, overloaded monkey mind. We'll be diving right into Chapter 6 of the Bhagavad Gita. And let me tell you, it is just as relevant today as it was literally thousands of years ago.
Look, we all know the universal struggle, right? The very second we sit down, close our eyes, and actually try to focus, our minds immediately wander off in a million frustrating directions. One second, you're trying to find your zen, and the next, bam, you're thinking about what to have for dinner, some mildly embarrassing thing you said 5 years ago, or, that email you completely forgot to send.
Well, it turns out we are absolutely not alone in this. Over 2,000 years ago, Arjuna expressed this exact same frustration to his teacher, Krishna. He literally compared his uncultivated, wild mind to a violent, impossible-to-catch wind. Honestly, that's incredibly reassuring. It proves that this restless, turbulent brain of ours isn't just a modern failing of the smartphone era. It's just the natural condition of the human mind.
Okay, let's look at the agenda for this explainer. First up, we just touched on the universal restless mind. Next, we'll enter Dhyana yoga. Then we open our toolkit with tool 1, Abhyasa, or practice, followed by tool 2, Vairagya, or detachment. After that, we cover applying the mental toolkit, and finally, achieving inner peace.
All right, section 2, enter Dhyana yoga.
So the practice outlined here in Chapter 6 is called Dhyana yoga. And this is a super crucial point. Dhyana is not just about sitting quietly or trying to force your mind to go totally blank. Actually, scratch that. It's really an active, disciplined flow of thought. It's a sustained contemplation rooted in inner balance, designed specifically to unite your individual mind directly with the self.
Now, Dhyana yoga doesn't just happen in a vacuum. As a foundation, we first have to learn to perform our everyday duties without being totally attached to the rewards. This is what's known as karma yoga. The Gita makes it crystal clear that true renunciation isn't about, escaping to a cave somewhere. It's about profound self-effort and inner discipline. By doing our work without obsessing over the outcome, we learn a massive lesson. An uncontrolled mind is our absolute worst enemy, but a trained one, that becomes our greatest friend.
Moving right along to section 3, tool 1, Abhyasa, or practice.
So, if you've ever wondered how exactly to calm that turbulent wind Arjuna was talking about, here's your answer. The very first tool Krishna prescribes is Abhyasa, which means practice. But we're not just talking about any casual practice. Abhyasa is the active muscle of our mental toolkit. The commentary describes it wonderfully. It's kind of like using a crowbar to slowly, deliberately lift a heavy weight. It is the persistent, repeated effort of gently pulling your wandering mind back to the self over and over again. And I absolutely love verse 6.26 because it is just so incredibly reassuring. The Gita doesn't shame us for getting distracted. Actually, it completely expects distraction. It simply instructs us to observe the mind, note exactly where it's wandered off to, and then patiently, without a drop of anger or frustration, just reel it back in. That simple act of withdrawing the mind and bringing it back, that is the practice of Abhyasa. Now, if we want this Abhyasa to actually be effective, we have to look at its core components. It breaks down into 3 specific keys. First, you need to do it persistently for a long time. Second, it has to be daily, without taking a break. And third, this is a big one, noted by the great scholar Shankara. We must do it with lots of love and full faith. Think about it. This practice isn't a punishment. It's an act of profound care for your own mind.
Okay, let's turn to section 4. Tool 2, Vairagya, or detachment.
So here is the secret ingredient that makes all that heavy lifting of Abhyasa infinitely easier to manage. Our second tool is Vairagya, which basically translates to detachment or dispassion. If Abhyasa is the active effort of focusing, Vairagya is the passive, supreme wisdom that helps your mind release its tight, stubborn grip on external outcomes. It's that deep realization that worldly things are impermanent, which naturally stops them from pulling your attention away in the first place. To really get how this mental toolkit works, you have to see how these 2 tools perfectly balance each other out. It's brilliant, really. Abhyasa is the active, patient work of pulling your mind in. Vairagya, on the other hand, is the passive wisdom that stops your mind from wanting to go out toward external distractions. Put them together, and you have exactly what you need to completely tame that restless mind. Which brings us to section 5, applying the mental toolkit. Now that we understand practice and detachment, let's talk logistics. How do we actually do this? Well, verses 6.11 through 6.14 give us the exact step-by-step physical setup. Step 1, choose a clean, quiet place with a firm seat. Step 2, hold your body, head, and neck perfectly straight and still to fend off any sleepiness. Step 3, gaze steadily, like right at the tip of your nose, so your eyes aren't darting all over the room. And finally, Step 4, subdue the mind and banish all fear. Honestly, this setup completely illustrates why posture is such a massive deal in this tradition. Physical stillness literally creates the optimal conditions for mental stillness. By sitting totally straight and quieting your physical senses, you're allowing your awareness to finally detach from bodily distractions. You are setting up the perfect environment for the mind to be completely free.
Let's move to our final segment, Section 6, Achieving Inner Peace.
So, what's the ultimate payoff of consistently applying this two-part toolkit?
Verse 16-19 gives us what is probably one of the most beautiful metaphors you'll ever hear. Through the persistent effort of Abhyasa, combined with the cool detachment of Vairagya, that violent, chaotic wind in your head finally dies down. And what's left? Your mind becomes perfectly quiet compared to a steady, unwavering flame in a completely windless place. And when you hit that state, it's an absolute game changer. You tap into this inexhaustible inner well of happiness. Your joy is no longer tied to external achievements, or whether someone approved of your work today, or the constant exhausting roller coaster of worldly impermanence. Instead, your peace is drawn entirely from within. You've essentially mastered the mind, transforming it from your worst enemy into your greatest ally.
To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a question. Think about your own life right now. What specific wind, what chaotic distraction or anxiety is waiting to be calmed today using this ancient toolkit? Because the incredible thing is, the profound combination of practice and detachment is right there, just waiting for you to use it.